When you get rich, tell no one. Because the moment people see your success, they stop seeing your humanity. They see a target, a mirror that reflects their own failures. They'll smile, but behind that smile, they'll count your money in their heads and whisper your name with envy in their hearts. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago, that power exposed is power weakened. The man who flaunts his fortune invites betrayal. The man who hides it commands respect in silence. Silence is not weakness, it's a weapon. In a world that worships attention, the one who refuses it becomes unpredictable, and that's terrifying. You must understand something about human psychology. Most people crave validation. They want to be seen, admired, envied. They think wealth is about showing off the car, the watch, the lifestyle. But Machiavelli would have called that foolish. He knew that visibility makes you vulnerable. The powerful man doesn't need applause. He needs leverage. When you begin to rise, the first thing you'll feel is excitement, the urge to prove them wrong, to show the world that you made it, that all those who doubted you were wrong about you. But that urge is the bait. The moment you seek recognition, you give your enemies a map to your weaknesses, your progress, your routines, your assets, all exposed. And once they know, they can reach you. The truth is brutal. Most people don't want you to win. Even those who pretend to support you have hidden resentment. Your success reminds them of what they could have been. They'll disguise their jealousy as curiosity. They'll ask innocent questions. How much did you make? Where did you invest? Can you help me? But behind every question lies calculation. They want access to your power, not to learn, but to take. Machiavelli said that men are driven more by fear than by love. And when a man sees another rise above him, his love turns to hatred, his admiration to envy. So protect your wealth as you would your life, not by building walls, but by mastering discretion. The richest man in the room is often the quietest. He speaks little, observes much, and lets others guess. The less they know, the more they respect. Here's what happens when you expose your wealth. People start watching your every move. They attach expectations to your name. They call you arrogant if you distance yourself, fake if you stay humble. You become a symbol, not a person, and symbols can be attacked, destroyed, or exploited. The worst part, you'll start changing without realizing it. You'll dress differently, speak differently, think differently. Not because you want to, but because you feel watched. Your freedom dies the moment your fortune becomes public. Machiavelli would tell you this. The art of power lies in appearing weaker than you are. Not because you are ashamed of your strength, but because true control is invisible. The wolf doesn't announce his hunger. He just hunts. The storm doesn't warn. It strikes. The same goes for wealth. The more you hide it, the more potent it becomes. There's another layer to this, something deeper. When you stay silent about your riches, you protect not only yourself but also your state of mind. Every time you reveal your success, you expose yourself to energy, jealousy, greed, manipulation. People project their emotions onto you, and if you're not careful, those projections become your reality. Their negativity attaches to your name, infects your peace. That's why so many rich men go insane. They didn't lose money, they lost privacy. Think about it. You can replace lost money. You can rebuild a business. But once your peace is gone, once you're surrounded by people who only love what you represent, not who you are, you'll crave the silence you once hated. The secret is this. It's better to be underestimated than overexposed. Let them think you're average. Let them assume you're struggling. Let them laugh while you build empires in the dark. Because while they waste energy trying to impress others, you'll be building control. Power grows in silence. Influence grows in shadows. Only fools announce their moves. The wise let their results speak when it's too late for others to stop them. In today's world, social media is a trap for the ambitious. You see others flexing luxury, and your instinct says, I must do the same. But understand, that's what they want. The world wants to see you reveal your cards. They want you distracted, posting instead of progressing. Every second you spend proving you're rich is a second stolen from becoming richer. Machiavelli would call this voluntary exposure, the most dangerous weakness of modern power. If you truly want to rule your world, make anonymity your shield. Move quietly. Let your money grow in accounts they can't imagine. Let your success whisper, not scream. The powerful don't chase recognition. They create silence so deep that it makes others uneasy. Remember this law. When you become visible, you become predictable. When you're predictable, you're controllable. And when you're controllable, you've already lost. Those who flaunt wealth often end up trapped by it. Their image becomes their prison. They must maintain the illusion, the cars, the clothes, the fake smiles, even when they're drowning in debt or loneliness. The man who told no one, however, remains free. No one can touch what they don't know exists. That's why every Machiavellian move begins with misdirection. Pretend you're ordinary. Blend in. Make them believe you're harmless. And when the time comes to strike, when you finally reveal your influence, they'll never see it coming. That's how kings rise. Not through noise, but through silence. You must learn to separate success from recognition. Success is private. Recognition is public. The first builds power, the second destroys it. Don't confuse applause for achievement. Applause is just noise, temporary, meaningless, and often fake. True achievement is quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to be seen. When you start getting rich, your circle will test you. Old friends will reappear, pretending to care. They'll remind you of the times you struggled together, not out of love, but to guilt you into sharing your rewards. Don't. The moment you start feeding others with your success, you create dependence, not loyalty. Machiavelli warned rulers about generosity, not because giving is wrong, but because it breeds expectation. Once you give once, they expect forever. And when you stop, they hate you more than if you had never given at all. So give strategically. Help those who deserve it, not those who demand it. The powerful man doesn't give to be loved, he gives to control outcomes. Every coin you spend should strengthen your position. If it doesn't, it's wasted. Now there's something darker you must face. When you rise, you'll be alone. That's not a side effect. It's part of the process. Wealth isolates you. It exposes how shallow most relationships were. The ones who used to laugh with you will now whisper about you. The ones who said, "I'm proud of you," will soon say, "You've changed." But don't fall into guilt. You didn't change, they did. They can't handle your evolution because it reminds them of their stagnation. So stay silent. Let them misinterpret your distance. Let them call you cold, arrogant, detached. Machiavelli would tell you that a ruler must accept being misunderstood. Those who seek to be understood by everyone end up ruled by everyone. Silence will make them question you, and that's exactly what you want. The more they guess, the less they act. When you move in mystery, you control narratives without saying a word. People fill silence with imagination, and imagination is far more powerful than truth. When they don't know your income, they'll assume it's higher. When they don't know your next move, they'll fear it. When they don't know your alliances, they'll hesitate to cross you. That's Machiavellian dominance, control through uncertainty. But there's one thing you must master above all: emotional discipline. Because it's not just about keeping your mouth shut, it's about controlling the impulse to show. Every human wants recognition. It's biological. We crave status. We want proof that our struggle meant something. But that need for validation is your enemy. You must kill it. Every time you feel the urge to show off, remember, you're trading long-term power for short-term praise. The applause will fade, but the exposure will stay. So build quietly. Invest in assets that don't announce themselves. Skills, networks, systems. Let your wealth be silent but generational. The more invisible your empire, the safer it becomes. The day you can walk past a crowd and no one knows what you're worth, that's the day you've truly won. And if one day you're tempted to post your new car, your new home, your success story, pause. Ask yourself, what do I gain from this? Admiration? Envy? Validation? All temporary. What do I lose? Privacy, safety, leverage, permanent. Machiavelli would remind you, it's not what you show that defines you, but what you withhold. Power is not about being seen, it's about being untouchable. So keep your silence, protect your peace, move like a shadow among the blind. Because when you get rich, tell no one. When you get rich, tell no one. Because silence isn't just protection, it's strategy. Most people think staying quiet is about fear. It's not. It's about control. Every time you speak, you reveal a piece of your world, your values, your priorities, your vulnerabilities. And the moment people understand you, they can predict you. The man who cannot be read, however, cannot be controlled. Machiavelli called this the art of masking intentions, the most sacred skill of the powerful. Understand this: wealth is energy. It attracts everything: admiration, envy, opportunity, and danger. If you don't manage that energy with precision, it will consume you. You'll think you're surrounded by love when you're actually surrounded by parasites. The ones who cheer for you now will be the first to tear you down when your fortune threatens their comfort. Human nature doesn't change. It only hides behind polite smiles. That's why the true Machiavellian doesn't celebrate publicly. He studies. He calculates. He invests his wealth not just in money, but in information. He wants to know what others don't, to see what others can't. The crowd spends their riches on symbols of success. The strategist spends his on expanding his reach. Every secret deal, every discreet investment, every quiet alliance. These are the foundations of power that can't be taken away by gossip or exposure. But here's the paradox. The more powerful you become, the more dangerous openness becomes. Because in the beginning, no one cares about your plans. Once you start succeeding, everyone watches. They analyze your every move. They copy you, sabotage you, or plot against you. The rich man who overshares creates his own downfall. He builds the ladder for his enemies to climb. There's an old Italian proverb, "The knife comes from the hand you fed." Machiavelli would have smiled at that because it's the eternal truth of human behavior. The ones you help, the ones you trust, are the ones who will one day betray you. Not because they hate you, but because they envy what you represent. That's why the rich man must master distance. Not arrogance, distance. Be friendly, but never familiar. Be generous, but never predictable. Let them feel close, but never give them access. A man who knows your schedule, your routines, your weaknesses, he already owns a part of you. Power means keeping everyone guessing which version of you they're dealing with. There's something psychologically profound about mystery. When people don't understand you, their mind starts working overtime, trying to figure you out. They'll project, overthink, and misjudge. And in that confusion, you gain the upper hand. You become larger than life. That's why Machiavelli advised princes to appear one way and be another. To manipulate perception is to rule the narrative. The one who controls what others believe controls their actions. When you stay silent about your wealth, you create an illusion that you are ordinary. That illusion becomes your armor. It allows you to move through the world unseen, unchallenged, unthreatened. Meanwhile, your enemies waste time chasing illusions of power while you quietly build the real thing. You see, in a world obsessed with validation, invisibility is the ultimate luxury. The poor want attention because attention feels like importance. The powerful, however, crave obscurity, because only in the dark can they move without interference. If you want true freedom, you must learn to love being underestimated. There's nothing more dangerous than a man whose strength is invisible. Machiavelli once wrote that a wise ruler must learn to act like both the lion and the fox. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. But a man who can be both, cunning and strong, cannot be destroyed. That's your task. Hide your wealth like the fox, defend it like the lion. Use charm when necessary, intimidation when required, but never exposure. Because exposure kills before the blade does. People talk too much. They brag about their progress, announce their plans, expose their victories, and in doing so, they trade power for ego. Ego is your greatest enemy. It's what makes you predictable. It's what forces you to show your hand when you should be folding it. Ego makes you loud when you should be quiet. If you can't silence your ego, someone else will silence your success. True confidence doesn't need confirmation. When you know who you are and what you have, silence becomes your natural state. You stop needing applause because you already know the truth. Every Machiavellian mind understands that attention is a form of debt. The more you receive, the more you owe. You owe explanations, performances, proof. The less attention you have, the freer you are to move without paying that debt. Now let's speak about the enemy within, the part of you that wants to be seen. Because even if you stay quiet externally, internally, you'll battle the urge to prove yourself. You'll imagine the reactions, the praise, the recognition. That voice inside your head saying, "They need to know who I am." That voice is your downfall. Silence it. Kill it. Replace it with another voice. Calm, detached, Machiavellian, whispering, "They don't need to know. They'll see when it's too late." This mindset turns you from a performer into a predator. You stop chasing attention and start studying human patterns. You begin to see weakness in those who overshare. They expose their goals, their next moves, their emotions. You, however, become unreadable. People will start saying things like, "I can't tell what he's thinking," or "he's mysterious." That's not an insult. That's respect. Mystery is the modern language of dominance. The more silent you become, the louder your results will sound. Because one day, you'll make a move so massive that the world will be forced to notice, and by then, it will be too late for them to interfere. That's the Machiavellian payoff. Delayed recognition, permanent power. You don't need validation now. You need control later. So here's what you must do. Keep your network small, but powerful. Don't tell anyone your real numbers, not even your closest allies. If they know your wealth, they can manipulate your emotions. If they think you're struggling, they'll underestimate you. And that's exactly how you win. Use their assumptions as camouflage. Act broke until you're untouchable. Smile when they underestimate you. It's the best disguise in the world. When you walk into a room, never be the one talking the most. Let others expose themselves. Let them reveal their motives, their flaws, their greed. Then use that information to navigate them. That's how Machiavelli advised rulers to rule. Not through force, but through understanding human nature. Because people rarely change. They just adapt their masks. The one who listens more sees through them all. And remember this law of wealth. If people can't calculate your value, they can't exploit you. Ambiguity is power. The moment they know your worth, they start planning how to take it. The man who hides his fortune owns his fate. The one who flaunts it signs his death warrant. Silence, then, becomes your invisibility cloak. You move through the world undetected. You make decisions before others realize there's even a game being played. That's real wealth, the kind that comes with control, not applause. But this silence has a cost. You'll be misunderstood. People will call you distant, secretive, maybe even paranoid. Let them. Machiavelli would tell you, a ruler is never loved by all, but always respected by the wise. The fools crave your validation. The wise study your moves. Which one do you want watching you? And don't mistake isolation for weakness. Solitude is where you recalibrate, where you make decisions without noise. Every empire was built in silence long before it was celebrated in public. So when you feel lonely, remember, the silence you endure now becomes the security you enjoy later. The greatest mistake of modern success is visibility. People think fame equals power, but fame is the illusion of power given by those who actually control it. The more visible you are, the easier you are to destroy. The less they see, the less they can touch. Machiavelli's strategy was simple but eternal. Appear humble, speak less, know everything, share nothing. If you can master that, you'll outlast everyone who tried to shine too soon. One day people will ask how you did it, how you built everything while staying invisible. They'll think it was luck, timing, or destiny. You'll smile, say nothing, and let them wonder. That's the Machiavellian victory, when your silence speaks louder than their explanations. When you get rich, build walls of silence around your empire. Protect your family, your privacy, your peace. Make your fortune work for you, not against you. Let your wealth serve you quietly, not expose you loudly. And when they ask why you never showed off, tell them this truth. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was trying to stay free. That's what the world doesn't understand. Freedom isn't in the money. It's in the ability to disappear whenever you want. So stay silent. Stay patient. Let your results echo in rooms you've never entered. Because the loud become targets and the silent become legends. And when your time comes, when the wealth is real, when the empire is built, resist the temptation to reveal it. Keep the same silence that built your fortune. Because Machiavelli's final lesson is this: the most powerful man in the world is the one no one knows is powerful. So when you get rich, tell no one. If you've understood this message, comment below. Silence is my power. And remember to subscribe, because in a world that talks too much, the few who master silence rule it.